First, just tell me a little bit about, I got to hear you on the stage.
Yes.
Now, I've met Paul Fink. I've known him for a couple of years, basically from Tim's events and Craig's events and James Malinchek's events. And I know you're filling in for him, so you've got an assignment, if you will.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are either public speakers now or you're thinking about being public speakers, it is a key element of responsibility to know your lane. But it's also a key element of responsibility to be able to take your talent level and apply that to someone else's assignment, someone else's lane. And that's what Drew's doing as a pinch hitter, if you will. His job isn't here to make himself famous. His job as a keynote speaker and a presenter today is to present the content that he's been asked to collaborate on for the purpose of this event, for the purpose of the sales process that he's here to represent. But he also has in his own right, in his own projects, his own ideas, his own courses, his own content, a way of doing business that's both complementary and flattering to the assignment that he has. So I want to set that up. Now, I heard you on the stage earlier in a kind of a round robin interview, a panel, if you will.
Yep.
And one of the things you mentioned was this idea of collaboration at a whole nother level. Now, I know that's not what Paul has sent you here for, but it is something that allows you to do what you do for Paul at a different level. So tell us about this collaboration, about the website, about some of the other projects you're working on with that.
Well, first of all, I appreciate getting to know you, and this is only our first time meeting. And we
Yes.
We looked on Facebook. We have 63 friends in common.
I've tagged a couple, Ken Roshan and Laurel Langmeyer.
Ken's a good friend. I know Laurel, and you're playing at a big level. I mean, John Maxwell trained. He's one of the best in the world, and I just appreciate your energy and allowing us to do this together. And thank you for honoring that about Paul. And it is my lane to represent him, which is a lot of responsibility, and represent Tim's event and represent the people that are here. It's an honor and it's a privilege, and I'm coming to serve. And I've learned that through collaboration. And what I was talking about before on the panel is that I grew up in the 80s, and I'm a 72 baby, and in the 80s it was a me generation. How can I make more money?
Yes.
How can I
All
have bigger
about me.
toys? And how can I climb the right ladder? And then over time I realized it's really about how can we make the planet better. And it all came about cooperation and collaboration based on the fact that what we were talking about at lunch. If I hold all my best secrets near and dear, and you hold all your best secrets near and dear, we're in competition. If we both throw our best secrets into the mix, then we both get to pull from a wider pool of best secrets. So that's where collaboration comes in.
Well, and a lot of that comes too with that mindset difference between generosity and scarcity. The mindset of scarcity says, I can't let you see my toys, you might take them. It also says, I can't expose my ideas for fear that I won't get paid for them. Rather than asking what really is the common good. Is the best good I can get out of my ideas my paycheck or a little bonus check or a new book deal, or is it really the impact that I can have on culture and society?
And it's all about impact. That seems to be the theme of this weekend. It's all about other people. It's all about serving. It's all about impact. It's all about integrity. And yet, how do we all have to pay our bills too. You can't pay your mortgage on love and integrity. And with collaboration, there's plenty of love, there's plenty of gratitude, there's plenty of air, there's plenty of gravity, and there's plenty of money, and there's plenty of contacts, and there's plenty of influence. And if you play right, you can actually create the lifestyle that you want to have.
Now, I grew up in Southern Baptist. I've been in church all of my life. Well, not all of my life, but a large majority of my life. I teach in my church. And one of the things that a lot of people in that Christian and religious sector are deeply concerned about is the movement of the law of attraction. My friend Laurel Langmeyer was a part of The Secret when that project came out in both the video and in the books, and teaches around that. I think it was you, though, that said that the biggest part of the word of law of attraction was action. Was that you, or was that?
That was me, yeah.
And that is a huge thing. I think here's another misnomer, though, and that is, from the Christian world, in Christianese, what I have to say is, if God is the creator of all things, the law of attraction isn't a man-made idea. That's a God-made idea. And if God made the idea of the law of attraction, how you apply it may have some very specific rules to it, but that doesn't make it any less applicable. I mean, the law of gravity never asks, are you a Baptist or a Buddhist?
Right.
The law of gravity never says, are you Methodist or Muslim? How much money is in your bank account and who did you vote for? The law of gravity doesn't care. It's a law.
Right.
I believe the same is true of the law of attraction.
Yeah.
And in that practice, one of the things that we see people struggle with is, I want to get money, I want to get money, I want to get money, I want to get money. And the problem is, when money is all you're focused on, it seems to go as fast as it comes.
Yeah.
But when it's gratitude, when it's people, when it's relationship, that changes everything. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
And how would you expound on that?
Well, absolutely. I think most people go through life like this. Give me more, give me more, give me more. I can't handle what I have. Give me more money, my bank account's a mess. Give me more clients, I don't serve my clients properly. Give me a platform, I don't know what to talk about. And I love that you're Christian-based and you're God-based. I'm Jewish, and I got a good church joke that you'll love, right? So the pastor's son goes up to the pastor and says, Dad, can I get a car? And the pastor says, son, you know, I've looking at your grades and you're getting C's. You're the pastor's son, you gotta set an example. And he's like, and you don't read the Bible. You don't even come to church. Like, you got to change some things around. Look at you. You're all scruffy. You got long hair. You're all disheveled. Come back. Fix yourself up. Come back in a couple months. We'll talk about it. Son comes back a couple months later and says, Dad, I did everything that you said. He's like, yeah, I see. Look at you. Went from C's to A's. Great job. I've seen you've been studying. He's like, and I've been reading the Bible. He's like, yeah, I see you reading the Bible a lot. You're coming to church. Great job. He's like, so Dad, can I get a car? He's like, well, you're all beard. You're all straggly. Your hair's all long. He's like, well, Dad, I've been reading the Bible, and it seems like Jesus had a beard and long hair. And the pastor says, and you notice he walked everywhere. So, you know, that is the law of attraction, right? You are who you become. You are who you focus on where you're going. John Maxwell says, if you want to change your life, you have to change your life.
Yes.
If nothing changes, nothing changes. So I believe everything comes, and in the Bible, I think it says, call forth that which does not yet exist. Right?
Faith is the substance of things hoped for and not yet seen.
Right. So that's what the law of attraction is. Having belief, having faith, and I don't believe in fake it till you make it, because a lot of this weekend has been called about authenticity. I believe faith it till you make it.
Yeah.
Have faith. You're working hard. You might not be there yet, but have faith, and God delivers, right? God delivers.
And I believe when, in the way of the law of attraction and in the way of Christian faith as well, the proper practice of loving others, of doing for others, of giving, is that when you do that, God returns that. And, you know, my name is not Jireh. Jehovah Jireh is him. And so long as I'm serving Jehovah Jireh with everything that I have, it's his responsibility to take care of my needs.
Yeah.
The birds don't go, hey, we're going to starve to death. I mean, the flowers don't go, gee, how could it be prettier? None of that happens. He takes care of all of that, but they have the responsibility of receiving the sunlight and growing from the nutrients they have.
And what a mean, terrible, awful God we would have to give in a dream and not have the ability to get it, right? Like, if you can, they say, if you believe it, you can achieve it. If you can think it, then thoughts are things, which we've learned.
Yes.
So why would
Dr.
God
Leaf.
give you the ability to think and want something that you couldn't have? I mean, that would be a really bad environment.
Why would you
for
have
us.
a desire? Yeah, what kind of dad would give you a desire and allow you to grow in that desire if you weren't supposed to have it? Now, the contrast with that is, I think it's James 4 when he says, listen, the only reason you have wars, the only reason you fight over anything is because you want things you're not supposed to have. And it's the lust that drives you to go get things, and you fight and you kill for what you're not supposed to have. But when you lack, you have not because you ask not. Or when you ask amiss. Meaning, if my son comes to me every morning, he's like, Dad, I want chocolate cake for breakfast. I'm like, not going to happen. We have omelets, we have waffles, we have pancakes. What would you like for breakfast? Chocolate cake. No, waffles, omelets, and pancakes. What do you want for breakfast? And when we realize that God says, I've got the cattle on 1,000 hills, I've got all the money in the bank. The kings ask me for permission to do what they do. If that's what you need in life, ask your father. He's got this. And I think sometimes we try to manipulate those opportunities to such a degree that we lose that. And we don't, to use your own word, we don't collaborate with God. We don't say, okay, Dad, what do you want me to do now? And then trust that he's got all the resources. He's got all the connections, all the relationships. If we said, okay, Dad, what now? And then follow what he said, it would kind of change everything.
Yeah. And with collaboration, you know, I did come up with the law of collaboration.com. I'm looking into maybe trademarking that. And
I know a good guy for that.
Okay, good. And we collaborate with self. We collaborate with the future. We collaborate through meditation. And I believe with God, prayer is a type of collaboration.
I would agree with that 1,000%.
It's we are in this together. And whether you're collaborating with your clients or collaborating with God or collaborating with self, meaning if you wanted to predict your future, you've been personal development 10 years or more, what would you tell your 7-year-old self?
Right.
So that's a way of condensing time, and that's where self-collaboration comes in. So I'm about to go on stage to teach on the law of attraction in action, where I'm going to be teaching the 4-step process on law of attraction. One is, who are my ideal clients. They're not necessarily clients. It could be spouse. It could be business partners. But who are
Right.
my ideal clients? Most people don't even get that far. They don't even know who their ideal clients are.
Yeah, they just want to vomit their product, their service, their passions on people and presume that people go, oh, he just threw that up all over me. That's what I want.
And through step one, we can identify the ideal client who will pay more often, who will buy your stuff. My friend wrote a book called Love is Damn Good Business, and the subtitle is Do What You Love, Serving People Who Love What You Do. And that's your ideal client, serving people who love
Absolutely.
what you do. Find your ideal client. Second is, where are they? See, I know my ideal clients come to conferences like this. They like Tony Robbins. They like John Maxwell. They are spiritually aligned. They want to improve themselves. Question number 3 is what makes them tick? And this is a big one because if you don't know what makes your clients tick,
You can't be relevant.
you can't be relevant. And then you're nothing but a salesman.
Yep.
So we teach people, and you do as well, not to be a slippery salesman, but to be a trusted advisor. So
Yes.
you have fiduciary responsibility to serve your client.
Yeah.
And then number 4 is the law of attraction nailed. What do I have to do, change, or become to attract more of them? And then it becomes the circle of life. You are looking for the people who are looking for you. You're becoming the people that your ideal client is looking for, and then it becomes the journey.
I heard Dr. Tracy Mitchell say the other night, you hear people all the time, in your own phrase, fake it till you make it.
Right?
And she said, there was a story of a fig tree that Jesus encountered. And when he saw the fig tree, he's like, from a distance, you look like a good, healthy tree. You're faking it.
Yeah.
But when I get here, there's no fruit. You're not actually producing what you're telling the world you're producing. And he cursed it from the roots. And the next day when they passed it, the disciples were like, dude, that was a big, beautiful tree yesterday. Today it's dead. And he said, yeah, because it's faking it. It's not making it. It's not making figs. It's faking that it's a fig tree. And I don't have any tolerance for that. And I think the challenge for a lot of people is, and I think it's Dr. Mark Sharona, he says, you will never live outside what you truly believe. So you can't become magnanimous in any aspect if what you believe about yourself is I'm a lowly wretch, there's no good for me. There's nothing that I can become. And so long as you believe that, even if you're not willing to say it, just like I told you earlier, I grew up thinking the rich get rich, the poor go broke, it's the rich's fault. I didn't want to be rich. You couldn't have convinced me to be rich. All the opportunity in front of me, I could never be rich because I hated rich people. That incongruence in myself is what you're talking about when you say you've got to both be spiritually aligned and you've got to be willing to say, I'm willing to change, to be like something I'm not like now in order to achieve what it is that I want to achieve. But if you're doing that only for your selfish gain, you're no different than the fig tree. You've got to get to the place where you say, I'm changing me because my wife deserves better. I'm changing me because my kids deserve better. I'm going to trademark my business because my kids deserve a legacy that will live behind me. And if we're making all those decisions only on our own selfishness, there's no good to come of that.
Yeah.
Now, I know that there are a lot of people who watch my Facebook and the blogs, and what they're looking for is, how can I take myself to the next level? How can I engage? How can I be a part of something bigger than me? You were telling me about an app earlier that kind of fits that bill. So take a couple of minutes and just tell us about the app and how they can play at that
Well, I
level.
appreciate that. I just got back from Toronto, so now I'm an international speaker, and
Woo!
I have a 6-city speaking tour with 4 book signings, and we got an app because the name of the app is You Can Have It All. And
You can have it all.
I believe you can have it all. You can have fun. You can have business. You can have relationships. You can have intimacy. You can have money. You can have a lifestyle by design. Napoleon Hill said when he wrote The Think and Grow Rich 100 years ago that the problem today is that people are working too hard creating a life, that they don't have time to create a lifestyle by design. So You Can Have It All is available now on the App Store. If you go to You Can Have It All on Apple and download the app, and if you go to You Can Have It All with my name, Drew Berman, on Android, you can get the app. And we just got called in that